today we are talking about account-based marketing, how companies implement this approach, who is involved, and what kind of challenges people face implementing ABM, and how automation and AI are transforming the process as well.
It's ABM is not about hot leads. It's about working together on specific list of accounts.
Account-based marketing, it's not marketing, it's a customer experience.
The ABM, it's to bring the human aspect, person to person behind business to business.
Hello, welcome to the B2B Marketing Leaders podcast. And today we are talking about a very interesting and insightful topic, account-based marketing. How companies implement this approach and these strategies, who is involved, and what kind of challenges people face implementing ABM, and how automation and AI are transforming the process as well. So, and we have some great experts here today with me. So let's start with the introductions. Please, yeah, Vivian.
Hi,
Please.
I can start. Hi, I'm Vivian Ross. I'm a senior campaign manager for North America at Octave. Octave, it's formerly known as Hexagon. We changed the name and the spin-off. We rebranded about 3 weeks ago, so bear with me. Maybe I say Hexagon a few times, but we're talking about Octave today. So I've been working with marketing pretty much my whole career since I graduated from college. And I'm originally from Brazil, where I worked mostly business to consumers. And then when I moved to the US, starting working with business to business and specifically on IT industry. So there at Octave, I am supporting the public sector vertical. When I started there, we had a very limited market awareness in the North America. So I'm talking about United States and Canada. And then working on activities to build the brand awareness and credibility across the sub-industries in public sector and developing multi-channel campaigns specifically towards ABM programs that are tailored to the vertical specific buying dynamics. So I'm very excited to be here with you today and talk about the ABM strategies. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. We are excited to have you here today. Yeah, Irina, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Irina Chernova, and thank you very much for having me here for this discussion. So I've been working in marketing almost 20 years, and during this time, I covered really different areas. So currently, I am targeted demand marketing manager in EMEA at NetApp. But before that, I covered field marketing, and for a few years, I was really dedicated to account-based marketing, which is still my passion, and I'm deep into that. Big fun. And I will be really happy to share with you some of my insights and my experience because I was working with a different countries that included Russia and CIS country, Middle East, Sweden, and UK. So I have very diverse experience in terms of the environments, I would say. Yeah, so happy to be here and look forward for the conversation.
Thank you so much. Happy to have you, Irina. And Elena, please.
Well, hi, I'm Yelena. I'm a demand generation director in Acronis. Acronis is a global leader in cyber protection, delivering only natively integrated platform to protect, manage, and automate all small and medium IT deployments. So I'm responsible for many areas of digital marketing, starting from website and SEO to ABM and community, and also I'm responsible for campaigns and partner marketing. Well, for campaigns and digital marketing, ABM is the cherry on top, delivering the results for largest accounts. So for me, the same as for Irina, ABM is a passion project. I'm involved in almost every ABM project, despite quite a big team involved in there. And happy to be here too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Elena. Yeah, happy to have you as well. And yeah, everyone is excited about ABM. Yeah, and I'm glad because I also love the approach. And my first question would be for you to, could you please share a specific example of how ABM has worked at your company? So it's kind of like a case study.
Let me start maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends because account-based marketing is working. And for the case study, we can talk about the big projects. Like we had a customer once in the Middle East, big oil and gas company, and we had no connections, no lead from the company. We together with the sales team, we didn't know where to start this. And yeah, we literally seated on a Zoom calls, creating idea and thinking how to get those contact and how to get engaged in them. So, but that time the data was not so comprehensive. But anyway, we managed to find the topic of interest that would resonate with the company, and it was AI. It was pretty long time ago when AI was in a kind of a pilot stage, but we knew for oil and gas AI is going to be a big, so very soon. So we started like kind of exploring this topic and building our conversation with the customer. And most interesting that that's what time it was COVID, we were not allowed to have a live meetings. Zoom calls were tricky, and there was we were not allowed to send any giveaways. And still, since we really invested into research, invested to company insight, we managed to send there the first, I would say, delegation of AI specialists from our company. And as far as I know for today, so they're still our customers. That is really a success story. And there were another. So, and I think that the smaller, because if we talk about the cases, the smaller would also be good because, you know, it's everyday life. Sometimes you need, I wouldn't say it's fast win, but sometimes we need to win in small. And that I would like, we had several cases that we could use the existing big events. They already exist and they were huge. Yes, to build account-based marketing campaign around strategic accounts, and we just leverage this big event, creating a special VIP space, creating a special sessions for the specific customer to create very personalized experience through the whole event, and that including pre-event activities and event itself and post-event follow-up. And I would say we had numerous, and then in different countries, like including UK and Russia and Germany. And this has really worked. Didn't need much investment, but you can create your case, you can create your success story out of that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great, especially connection to events. I think some specific industry-related events. Yeah, it looks great. And would like to continue or maybe comment on Irina's case studies?
I can continue. Interesting. It's another point when Irina was talking about like specific accounts. So I would say one to few, one to one. I have my experience is more on one to many and one to few accounts, because the main goal here was a hybrid approach that I had on ABM and demand generation. So when we started to working on that, the most important thing to define was the a list, the target list that we had aligned with sales, but they just need to know, not just to be moved forward because they already know the company. They knew nothing about us as a company. Like, who is this company wants to sell for me? Public sector, we're talking about two countries, United States and Canada, similarities but also differences. But if you think about public sector, each state can be considered their own environment, their own country, quote unquote, because they have differences on compliance, on laws and budget, on a sales cycle. So working on ABM campaign was to select the accounts that would be one too many and one too few, and decide the approach on the personalization, the level of personalization, and how to fill these accounts, touch it on their own pain points. They're common many times, and when they're specific, and how to build the awareness that you need and build the credibility with these accounts. So marketing would make them warm for sales to approach them in a very specific, personalized approach. So when we started working on these accounts was about 3 years ago when I started the company, and working there to promote the activities that we have, the solutions that we had, but not so much about the company, but about what are their challenges, what are these accounts challenges, and when I group them on the pain points they had in common and how our solutions could solve that, and then move them to a more personalized approach as they moved through the funnel. So it's an overall an example that I would like to bring here.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a great example. And yeah, it's important that you've covered that there are different approaches, one to few, one to many, and so on in account-based marketing. So it's not just about very, very deep personalization with some specific accounts. Yeah, it can be different. So thank you. And Elena, would you like to share your case study?
Yeah, like in Acronis, we came through all stages of company approach to ABM. Like we started from purchasing big possibilities with 6sense and a couple of other tools. And like initially, everybody's understanding was like we will have like 5,000 accounts that we want to have. And we will target like general advertising to them through the tools, and that is called ABM. It turned out no, it doesn't work this way, and like our maturity grew and grew. We came to a combination of approaches with between one-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many, and like some additional combination. And I would say in Acronis, like ABM majority is used for recruit. We are just starting to approach how we can work with like cross-sell, upsell, and so like churn prevention. It's like just starting for us. We were majority focused on recruit, and our approach is mostly around industry specific target lists. We found out that it's the best way for us to build ICP lists and understand how we can personalize our messaging around the specifics in particular country and particular industry, because all of them are a little bit different, like in compliance and data sovereignty and like maybe tech stack. And this gives us possibility to have the list not too small, not too big, but also very, very close to their pain points and triggers that they need to start the conversation.
Yeah, and that's a great topic of being relevant to your audience. Yeah, and build this very relevant specific list. Thank you, Elena. And the next question for you all is about something that went wrong. So, have you ever had an ABM initiative or a campaign or an activity that didn't go as planned? And what happened and what did you learn from it?
Well, I can just continue the
Sure.
idea that I started, like, because initially, again, we found out there are three things. First of all, like everybody in one company, in different company understands ABM and results and how to track them in very, very different way. And I see everybody like notes because it's like common pain points. And first of all, the first challenge that we have is actually to agree with everybody what we count as ABM, what we expect, how we expect results, and how we should work together. Like honestly, first couple of years in the company were a little bit painful because expectations from sales team were like bring me hot leads. And like it took about like a year, maybe more, to just to agree that it's ABM is not about hot leads. It's about working together on specific list of accounts. And that was like something that went wrong initially, but we understood and like we worked together and developed a new approach. I would say I think it's a common thing that everybody goes through. But when you are on the level when you have this understanding between you and sales and C4 or like and the other executives, then the project starts.
Yeah, alignment.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this alignment has a different sides because, for example, Yelena mentioned that they mostly do, let's say, ABM Lite and ABM Programmatic for the big number of customers. I mostly was engaged into the strategic ABM. In strategic ABM, yes, this problem has another dimension because usually we targeted at the very beginning, we targeted the customer for acquire customer. We need to penetrate, we need to get to. So, and what we found out, so yes, it was, of course, they need to understand what we can do. And here we need to set their expectations right. So that's custom, like that account-based marketing can do. And I think that we gonna, gonna discuss it moving forward. So, but also they need to understand that in account-based marketing, it's not marketing, it's a customer experience. It's a customer experience, and it really required big engagement and big time and efforts investing from all of the stakeholders. Marketing is only for orchestrating and do some technical stuff. but it's still sales. It's still sales. It's not marketing, and I think it's a little bit of confusion because it's because of the ABM, name, because it's called marketing. And it was, for me, it was in strategic marketing the most common reason why with some customers we failed. But for some customers, maybe they are not our customers here. Sometimes it's life. We can't do and we can't acquire each and every customer due to different reasons. Yeah, sometimes things happen, or sometimes we didn't have enough resources for that so far, just yet. So many, but mostly this is engagement and commitment from the sales teams.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I would echo to Irina and Elena said. It's about the expectations, and it's a continuing education. It's not say just one time. It's to remind the sales team about the commitment. It's working together. We needed to remind them time to time what we expected from that. It's a long journey, not just a sales cycle, but a marketing cycle, and what are they expecting from that? And it's all about the customer experiences. So we're not going to be so easy, so fast. I would say that it's pretty much the biggest challenge we have.
Yeah, to set up these expectations. Yeah, that's true. And Vivian mentioned that you worked with mostly with the one-to-many approach. Irina, probably one-to-one, right? PM. And Elena, what is your main focus in ABM, or you're doing all of it?
We have combination of one to few and one to many.
Mhm.
I think we will talk a little bit more about that later, but like we consider them as a one target group, but we have prioritization based on the intent signals and like the engagement, and overall a combination of approaches, a little bit more for one to few, a little bit less for one to many.
Yeah. And my question to everybody is about prioritization. How do you choose, for example, what kind of approach would be the most relevant for each segment? How do you choose these segments? Please share. Would you like
I
to
think
start?
it's hard for one too many. So
Yeah.
it's interesting because if you say one too many, so how many? It's too many, right? How
Yeah.
many accounts should be in that list? The first kickoff, it's to align with sales. Which accounts do you believe they are important to? Which accounts should be in this list? And then they come to you for at least of 1,000 accounts. Like, okay, we can work with that, but we're talking about what is the highest intent. What are the accounts that we need to prioritize? The keyword is prioritization. So which accounts should we work better and move them to be like one to feel like we have a biggest intent? What are the accounts that you see the best opportunities for this deal size, or they are not so important right now, but they can become in the future? And then we go to approach it to have the time, the resources to dedicate it to a one-on-one campaign to these accounts. We want them to be big, not just in numbers and the deal they're going to bring it to the company, right? In the end of the day, you want to sign those deals and go on that journey. I would say it's about the list. Define who should be there and should not be, and be like a broad programmatic experience with the company.
Thank you. Thank you, Vivian. Yeah, and what do you think, Elena? You would like to continue? Yeah.
Yeah, I like for us, we have many different types of target audiences and different regions, different approaches. But overall, like what we understand, like we need to start from understanding which use case gives us the best fit to us, because like what is ABM is finding accounts that are great fit to how we can help them, and based on that develop that ICP list. So like it starts from understanding which use case we want to develop has biggest priorities from perspective of giving us biggest IRR. Well, very much based on financial decisions. So like what is the best fit that can drive best IRR for us? Based on that, building this use case, we understand which tech stack we should have, which geographical and size and types of accounts we should have. And that it's a lot about data analysis. And then we are having scorecard, because it's not only about fit, but also like presence in the market, readiness to talk, engagement. So based on all of these scorecard elements, we build like a little bit larger list that have potential to work with us, but may have different engagement right now. And out of that, we choose one to few list, which is a core for us, where we see, as Irina said, low-hanging fruits that we can start to develop right now. And then we balance. For larger list, we optimized personalized messaging that works for the whole group. For the core, we develop a little bit more deep insights, more personalized approach, how we work with events, how we work with messaging, how we work with outreach. And then we combine. So when we have some successes in the core, we add more engaged list counts from the bigger list. And it like works, like some project that we have with ABM are working successfully for 2-3 years by now because of this approach, like gradual enlargement of this core list.
Sounds great. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yep. Irina, you wanted to add something? Yeah.
So I think that we just move on. Yeah, I think that ladies said almost everything, and of course, for strategic, it's a little bit different. At NetApp, besides strategic, ABM, we are doing verticals that we're segmenting our customer and personalize it by the vertical, like public sector or manufacturing, healthcare, or education. So this is the biggest, and of course we look at the wallet size and we look at our competitive position in these customers. So there are many, I would say, many things that might be considered, but of course, as Elena said, this is what is our customer the best fit, what is ideal ICP. So it's nothing new here. Same things.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And how do you balance personalization with scalability in ABM? Of course, we've already touched this question a little bit because, for example, Elena and Vivian and Irina, actually, you've explained that how you prioritize the accounts and how you choose, for example, accounts for one to few approach and one to many. But how personal is enough and how personal, for example, is too personal? How do you use personalization, and balance it with scalability, so to make it too difficult to personalize to every account? What do you think about all of that?
For us, for NetApp, it's important that considering the various, the job roles within the buying committee, because we are producing storage solutions and which includes hardware and software. And of course, there is decision maker, which is CTO, CIO, and the other job role, but they also technical people, and our success depends on that. So we usually personalize by two things, like first, the job role itself. So the job role challenges, the job role goals, what they need to achieve, what pain points they have to achieve, to experience to achieve the goal. Of course, this is the major stuff. And the second, on the pain points and challenges of the company, like in whole, in general. Of course, there might be personalization by the geographical, like firmographic and all this demographic personalization, but we mostly start with personalization by a job role, because in any country, we have engineers and we have decision makers, and of course, they are taking care of the different aspects of the same big project, like on a IT infrastructure.
And follow-up question to you, Irina. What do you think about the very, very deep level of personalization when we personalize by a specific person, their interests, their, I don't know, hobbies or something like that?
So we can do this, of course, mostly on the strategic and mostly on the very low levels on the funnel. Of course, we have a funnel, we have marketing journey, and we have communication with center folder. But as soon as we capture the leads and leads on the certain company and certain personalities, like you start engaging with us, of course, we personalized even more. Of course, we involve the sales guys. Of course, we know the people's names, and communicate and connect with them, like on a different media, like LinkedIn or in events, of course. So I think it also depends on the stage of the customer journey or of the funnel.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And so personalization and scalability. Elena, would you like to continue?
Well, ITCMA says like personalization increases engagement like 3 times. So like definitely we are going into personalization, but of course it's like a balance between like when we talk, as I said, one to many, it's personalization based on the pain point or use case that we chose to work. When we talk about like one to few, we go a little bit deeper. And anyway, there should be some limitations because you can have super personalized, but does it make sense? Does it help? Like for some project, and like getting back to like challenges, we built 20 different landing pages and we personalized even each messaging, each banner, and each outreach. Did it work that way? I wouldn't say. What helped actually is moving to roles, as Irina said, personalization based on roles and specific by committee expectations from the solution that we suggest works really, really well. It should be still landed on specific pain points or like the industry, but it gives us possibility to balance between hyper personalization and very time consuming approach and still being relevant to what the specific type of the target audience is expecting from us. So we are trying to balance, not to have too overwhelming approach, and we are finding how to make this communication most engaging. When we come to the level where we have sales outreach, it should be hyper personalized, and it really helps to finding this insight and gems and data analysis that actually helps to have this conversation when sales is ready to talk about something which is really, really important for this specific account. So like if like to sum up, on the marketing side, it should be personalized, maybe not too overlaying, but we as a marketing are getting ready our sales team to be hyper personalized when they have the conversation happening.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for summing it up. And so, Vivian, would you like to continue?
Yes, I agree with everything that the other two ladies said. And my point is exactly what Elena finished now about to enable sales to continue with that. So we have levels of, we scale the level of personalization based on which segment, one to many, one to few, one to one. So when you go in a higher level personalization, you want that customer, that prospect to know we know them, specifically them, the personas, the job roles that you were talking to. But at this point, it's marketing making the work easier for sales, and sales go take the lead, take the face of the company and go on that personalization. So we also enable the sales team to do that. Again, make clear the boundaries that you set for that kind of personalization to keep in a professional level, and also make a good use of our resources, right, in our time.
Yeah, and the good balance. So it should be good enough personalization, but it shouldn't look like stalking.
Exactly.
Shouldn't be very creepy.
Yeah,
for
not
people, yeah.
not too, yeah, not very creepy.
That's true. That's a great point. And I would like to talk about how you do account research for ABM approaches. Maybe use some tools, or so what kind of approach? Maybe AI or something.
I can start. I can start because I have approach from a regional perspective, right? So
Interesting.
yes, when we're talking about the personalization, I'm on the regional marketing team. So you have a global marketing team that has ownership on the operations and tools that we use. Today we use Dun and Bradstreet for the intent data research, but I would say that we have a G2 that it has a good job, doing a good job as well. And then we have Power BI, we have different tools that help with that. So use of the tools, AI is here to help. I think like anything that can help us to improve the process would help, but also there is a human aspect on that. I would say that ABM, it's to bring the human aspect, person to person behind business to business. So when we have our list of accounts and you have the information brought by the high intent tools and all the softwares that I can use, what else we can know about these accounts and how develop the relationship. So I think it's important to bring the conversation for the sales team as well. Again, the sales enablement for that.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Would you like to continue on the account research?
Well, we are trying to use every opportunity. So we have a sophisticated tech stack to use everything that we have in CRM and like use like whatever open sources we can have, LinkedIn, any reports, and of course AI helps enormously here. Possibility to gather a lot of information without spending hours on that and analyzing that information and like drawing conclusion how we can use this or that specific pain points. And of course, like echoing Vivian, the information that is coming from sales is very important. They sometimes do not understand that they have important information that could be used further to develop messaging, personalization, and so on and so forth. So like one of the first things that we use to research is actually talking to sales and understanding what actually we can add to that scorecard and what we can use to develop further. Well, tech stack obviously is one of the major things to get like information about engagement and growing of that engagement. Yeah, well, I would say for us, like it's mostly understanding the account. And the second question, how we can get it. Sometimes we just call there. It also works, like all the guerrilla marketing works here.
Yeah. Sometimes you can just ask. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great example.
And
Irina?
And I think I can relate here, of course, because when we start talking about where you get your information, of course, so the big platform is there. And of course, we're witnessing really spiraling, the big explosion of different kinds of a big data platform and all AI tools. Now it's easier on one side, but it's not really, because I agree with Elena, it's how you use this information, because you might have lots of data, but so what, for example? And I also agree that since account-based marketing is not only personalization, but a part of the personalization is surrounding the customer and getting into the customer from the different levels of your company. For example, we have our sales reps or client executive, you name them, or for example, we have our VP, and on different level on company, like customer company hierarchy, we might use the different people as a different vehicles and the different means of getting some insights. Like, for example, I'm mentoring the lady. She's from professional services, and professional services, they already work with a customer when already so they have an installation and they use our solutions already, but it's always opportunity to grow within a customer. And we discussed with her how she could be a source, how she could be a vehicle to deliver some information, and what she would deliver to the customer, and what she can get from the customer without being invasive or creepy, and what she could bring back to her sales team. And the sales team would listen to her because she wanted to get more into account-based marketing. And that was very interesting conversation. It's really a very insightful conversation on how the job roles within your team, might be the same vehicle of like a channel of deliveries, your marketing messaging, and they can get inside, they can be like surface intelligence. And of course, it's very good if you can, so that if you not limit yourself to this, yes, this is a sales guy, and this is me, like as a marketing. Actually, it's a universe, it's a kind of a solar system, but we're all in the business.
Yeah, and it's a great example of how a person from services, can be helpful in ABM.
Yeah, and I think it's like social media, of course, LinkedIn, or conferences, like being curious, what is your potential customer talking about? So what they would like to, to speak about on the big conferences, what is engaging them, what is making them excited.
Yeah, that's true. And it's interesting how to assess the efficiency of account-based marketing. What kind of metrics are the most important to you? What do you think?
Maybe let me start. So from my experience, there are a few KPIs that you could measure. And this is a part of, let's say, setting expectations, right? Because first, for example, the customer is acquire customer. What we try to do, we try to acquire the leads, that we try to account as many relevant contact within a customer as we can through their across the all buying committee functions. This is first one, and we can measure that. It's number of people. So the second is engagement. So as soon as we start driving the marketing campaigns, targeting with the different kinds of a messaging and these different kinds of the media. I would say this is the engagement score, it's engagement index that we can measure again, so we can show to the sales team that this is that we are doing for the customer. And I remember recently I was speaking in front of the one of the German sales team. I don't remember, maybe it was, I think it was public sector or something. I sell them. Then you see the customer on the on NetApp event, and you approach and start your conversation. You should understand before that, there were many engagement that we made. It's not a new customer. Like it's already went through the journey. Otherwise, you can go to the, to the airport, start talking to the strangers, maybe with the same effect. And this is a big commitment. Of course, very significant KPI is marketing source pipeline. So what campaigns, what activities help to sort or triggered the contact, triggered the opportunity, so worth converting and bring the money. And of course, if the goal is to grow inside of the customer, because ABM is not only for winning the new customer, is about the growing inside of the existing ones with a big potential. Of course, is influence pipeline, because account-based marketing can not only bring the new leads, but they can significantly accelerate the deals and make them be signed and won faster.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that
Thank you.
those four KPIs for me is the most significant ones.
Thank you. And I love the example of the leads at the event. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Vivian, would you like to continue?
Perfectly said, Rina. I love it. I would just add, just as a compliment, I would say KPIs is not one size fits all. We could divide the success measurement and like engagement KPIs that we have that will serve us as a marketing to know which path we are in the right path. Oh no, let's change a little bit. Let's adjust our campaigns. And then we go to something that will talk more on sales language. So the average deal size, the customer acquisition cost, when you talk about the conversion rate, how much we needed to spend to have that deal, how long that takes. And we're trying to put in numbers on something that is very not so straight line. So I think like it's an unfair job for us, but we have to do that. We work in a company, we needed to bring the ROI and like justify what you're doing. So just a compliment, Irina put it like the perfect way. And I'm sure Lena gonna say other amazing things about it as well.
Thank you,
Right,
Vivian.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, the same. Like we have something that is like why how our projects are remain successful. It's like by achieving close one ARR. This is like the one which is final KPI how we measure it. And we have, as Irina and Vivian said, something intermediate to understand is if we are going in the right direction, if we like our campaign makes sense, if our messaging makes sense. It's like, do we see engagement and growth? Is this engagement growth the same way in USA and Germany? Maybe we need to tweak something in Germany. Do we have enough contacts in the database, or we should add some enrichment projects? And do we see, like from media perspective, do we see right CTR? Do we see increased CTR? Like how it compares with less personalized? Maybe again we should change something. So set of final KPIs and intermediate ones, for example.
Yeah, it's a complicated approach. Yeah, and yeah, this is how it works. It's not easy to close deals, yeah, and to drive pipeline with ABM and cases in related to ABM, maybe content creation or something else. Please share some examples of how you use AI and maybe some tools, specific tools.
I think it's content creation, of course, for analysis. We use it for building campaigns. So we use it for analyzing the campaigns. So what went well, what's not. So to see the results, of course, for localization, but it's about the content as well. Yeah, but for localization, it's a big help. Of course, we always, the last mile, the last touch is by the human, always, because still it's not perfect, but it helps a lot and it's really accelerates the process. But I would say when we speak about the role of the marketer or the marketing manager, that this is orchestration. And for me, it's not a big change, because before that, I was dealing with different kinds of suppliers, internal and external, like copywriters, or a translation, agency or something like that. Now I just ask to do the same, all these AI agents, so to do it, and then I really orchestrate it and integrate it, and so really drive all together. And of course, responsibility is on our side still.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, human in the loop,
I
always.
agree. I agree. It's a support tool, is not a replacement. So we use to speed up the research, draft ideas, automate the repetitive parts, but it's always like we needed to review, to refine, to make sure the output will be what we desire, not never trust 100%. So I agree with you guys.
That's true. Yeah, thank you so much for your examples about using AI. And my final question for today will be about the alignment with sales and maybe other departments, top managers. Could you share some of your tips and tricks, personal tips and tricks, on how to make it more productive, to just grow the ABM initiative, to make them more efficient together with other departments?
Well, I would say for us, like best approach for alignment is to have the project with sales teams that actually agree with the approach, because not every team is actually have capacity to work on this way, have intention on work this way. So that would be something that, again, like getting back to the beginning where we have challenges, is understanding how this project works, how we should build our data science, how we build scorecards, giving all this information to the sales team, and having all the rules before the beginning discussion, like how it go, what are the expectations, and when we should expect some growth engagement and what we expect from their side. This is the best tip for engagement. I would say, like any podcast that I listened about ABM, it has this recommendation about like start from alignment. And I would say, from whatever I hear from people in conference, it's the stone that everybody drops at first. So I would reiterate, like start from alignment and setting the expectations first, because the ABM project is like very valuable because it gives this significant results. But as Irina said, it's not only marketing. For sure, it's a combination of sales and marketing work together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
And
agree.
that's why account-based marketing is about targeting the companies, the customers with the biggest potential.
Right.
And of course, it's expensive. It takes much investment. And of course, it's something you can't do just, we have targeted demand. We can big, scalability, big scalable campaigns. We have account-based marketing approach. In our company, we are just in the same team, because first we help each other. Some things we can do in scale, but some things we can go back to the deep personalization and to deep targeting. But of course, they are together. They're both account-based marketing and big scale. That's targeted demand part is important, and they have their own niche and they have their own purpose. But of course, account-based marketing is not for each and every prospect. It's about the biggest one, the biggest for your business, of course, with the biggest potential, where you can really focus and you can really invest without regret.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. And Vivian, would you like to say something about the alignment?
Yes. So the same, it's communication, clear communication, ask questions, answer questions, understand that we have this common goal, but we're speaking on different languages. So it's say translate what are the marketing terms to a language that sales will understand, and be open to have like education sessions to the team to explain to them what you're doing, how you're doing, how they can collaborate with that.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for your time and for sharing really interesting things and practical experience. The most
Thank you. That
important.
was insightful. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
that. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Yeah.
Thank
good
you.
rest of
Bye-bye.
the day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.